Yeah, I think it's complete chaos. It's been complete chaos. And as a coach, you got to, and especially a college basketball coach. And when I say the word chaos, some people, think as a negative connotation, but you have to embrace it. I mean, in today's day and age, to be able to coach and lead in 2024, one of the biggest characteristics I think is of being successful is the ability to adapt. And just like many professions and many industries, college basketball, college athletics has changed drastically over the last few years. So taking over a new program, I did this in 2016 when I took over UAB. It was completely different, almost like a different job, completely different job industry, if you will, 8 years later, just because of all the changes. But putting together a new team, and especially doing somewhere far away. So all the logistics about family and getting our family moved and schools for the kids. There's all that. There's all the personal side of it. When you take on a new job like this, and there's no lag time when you get hired. I mean, shoot, even maybe a couple of days before I was officially hired and the news broke, you are hitting the ground running full speed, building a team, getting to entrench yourself and meet, onboarding into the university, into the athletic department, hiring a new staff, in this situation, 7 new coaches, making sure their families and they are can onboard and move here and all this stuff. So it's been awesome, but it has been completely chaotic, which we've embraced. And yeah, roughly, 8 weeks in, we're excited about where we are and where we think we're headed. And it's been an amazing, unique experience for me to take over a job and have to, rebuild a whole new team and all that, as quickly as we have.
Well, you're definitely a natural born leader. So I'm sure as excited as the guys are and your staff is getting the kids and the wife on board with that with that move as well. How are they thinking about moving to Chicago? Any reactions, good or bad, about moving them out to the Windy City?
I jokingly said at my press conference, which this was true, when I got named the coach here, and kind of we were telling our kids, Caitlin, Davis, and Ryder, who are ages 10, 8, and 4, so still really young. I was telling my youngest that, hey, we're going to go coach a new team. Dad's going to be the coach of a new team in Chicago. He was kind of like in awe, and he had like a face like he couldn't believe what was happening. And I was like, well, what are you thinking, bud? And he essentially was like, Dad, you're going to coach Michael Jordan. And I know that was like a cool dad moment. And what's crazy is, and I'm sure Phil, your kids and growing up was the same way. Like they have no affiliation with Chicago, right? I mean, outside of just seriously Michael Jordan. Like my son, who's 4 years old, has like a red, black, and white Michael Jordan jersey that was passed on to him from his older brother, who's 8. It's just, it's just amazing the impact that Michael Jordan continues, through the Jordan brand, through his shoes, through the legacies and the decades of, and obviously he did all that in Chicago. And I think when you and I were growing up in Sacramento, we both probably had, I know I had the Michael Jordan, the shoes when they came out, the jerseys. I mean, it's a cool place. In that regard, it's a cool thing here being in Chicago, and we're a mile from the United Center and a mile, our office and facilities a mile from the Jordan statue. And it's just, like I said, it's kind of amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. The fact that our kids are able to remember him in the same way versus guys that retired is why he's iconic in so many ways. And I have a lot of my former teammates from Fresno State are from Chicago. And so I talk with them, and just like the whole culture of basketball in Chicago with kids that grew up there, it's even more dramatic with the way that community is. No pressure on having to potentially get him an introduction or an autograph, I guess, at this point now, right? Like that's really cool.
Hopefully we do something like magical enough where we can get Jordan to come visit or something. I don't know. That would be truly amazing. But yeah, no, the Bulls, man, and especially our era, just the Michael Jordan era, man. It was, as you said, iconic, in so many ways.
Yeah, and that's, you mentioned something too. When kids are at a certain age, they're not old enough to remember or be aware of the things that you're doing, and then as they get older, they can remember and are
Yeah.
aware of what you're doing. And that, you mentioned that, and that's got to be a really cool feeling as a father.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons, probably the number one reason why I coach is because of the passion for it, but also like I think my family and my kids and the experiences that basketball and coaching have allowed myself and our family have just been, truly, truly amazing. And I think when I was head coach at UAB, my sons, both my boys, don't really remember it at all, to be honest. I mean, they were just too little. My daughter, a little bit, but even she was still, she was 6, 7 when I left UAB. So as she's gotten older, I think now them getting to experience, dad being a head coach and being around and having access to the gym whenever they want and coming and playing around and just seeing all this it's cool. It'll be a cool experience. And as you said, hopefully something that they will like, they'll remember when they're older and be able to tell their kids about the experience as well.
Perfect segue into kind of us. Let's go back to the beginning with you. I mean, we all are a product of combined upbringing, our passions and loves. So talk about growing up in our hometown, Sacramento, where you were a legend in high school at Bella Vista, and maybe more so in your mind than in public eye. But but talk about growing up, the people and the coaches that inspired you and helped you fall in love with the game of basketball and sports, and influenced you and helped you become the individual you are today.
When I was younger, I had some great mentors that kind of just coincidentally, came into my life, or coaches. And one of the coolest things to tie it to here is one of my high school coaches was Scott Sharp. He was an assistant he was my freshman coach at Bella Vista, but then an assistant coach for me through varsity. And he was like a father figure to me and taught me so many, lessons at a young age. I think the biggest one, thinking back and how it's affected my life, was Coach Sharp, when I was younger, really believed in me that I was going to achieve something great. And he also really instilled in me that through hard work, like, you can achieve anything in this world. Like, there's nothing too big. And I think my, dream big, if you will, mentality, shoot for the stars, I think has really helped me throughout my career. And I really, mentally at my age, kind of circle it back to him and the impact he had on me during high school and playing high school. I also think that college was also one of the most probably transformational periods of my life, because I think, and we had some good coaches, obviously, and some ones I'm sure will come up that I think influenced all of us, right, in good ways. But I think more than that, it was that our friend group at UC Davis was just a very unique group, from personalities to work ethic to even like emotional intelligence, people skills. I think us at a young age being around like our friend group, I think had such a big impact on my life. And I feel like, in our 2 to 4 years of different people and different teammates, I really think that was played as big a factor in my success as anything, is being around all the guys at UC Davis, seeing how hard they worked, seeing their personalities and their drive and their ambitions. And man, we just had credit to the coaches, I guess, for recruiting all of us and bringing us together, but a bunch of like-minded individuals who really helped each other, if we're being honest, I think. And hopefully, I feel like I had a big impact on maybe, some of the younger guys that came after me, because I know, a couple of the older guys and even younger guys too had such a big impact on my life as well. So when I think about my life growing up in, next to all that to be said, I think my mom, growing up in a single family home, and my mom's sacrifice and work ethic in Sacramento and coming from where we lived, I think that was the foundation of who I became. But the high school part and then the college part, I think really helped me grow and develop, and set me on like a career path that's been, incredibly, a lot of luck involved. I also believe, as you said, like, you create your own luck. And I think all those things had a huge impact in my development.
That's an interesting point too.